Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Dimitri Cinema. I'm your host, Dimitri, and I've been gone for a long time, but I'm back. So, I just want to apologize for not getting back on here and put any streams up. I've been busy, actually been gone back and forth. But I do want to sit here and get in, jump right into it, and start talking about this topic is called "Bring Back or Bring In." Sorry, BattleCat. Talking about the Master of the Universe upcoming movie with Amazon MGM. So it is hitting theaters. It's not going straight to stream on Amazon. That's a good thing. I found that they switched it up on that. When they first started talking about the project, they were like, it's going to go straight to him, Amazon. And also we're going to talk about Voltron. They also have the Voltron movie that's wrapping up right now, and in Australia. So that's supposed to be predicted to be out by the end of 25, going into 26. I'm excited about that. Henry Cavill is a lead role. Not exactly sure who he's going to be yet. I get a funny feeling he might end up being maybe a villain, maybe. Not too sure, but still working on that. Well, let's talk about Masters of the Universe. Camila Mendez is playing Tila. I think that's a pretty decent pick for the new age actresses and actors out now. Idris Elba is playing Man at Arms. Duncan, aka Nicholas Galitzine, is playing, of course, the Almighty He-Man. And Alison Brie, which is very interesting, is going to play Evil Lynn. I hear a lot of hype about her. I've seen maybe one or two movies she was in. Not sure how I feel about her being like one of the greatest actresses out there, but I think she definitely could do this. Evil Lynn is going to take a little personality, sort of craziness. Like I said, I was preferring the lady from Jurassic World, Chris Pratt's girlfriend. I can't think of her name right now, but yeah, that's who I thought would have been a perfect Evil Lynn for any kind of Masters Universe coming up. I did that in one of my streams about the He-Man upcoming movie, and Jared Leto is Skeletor. Here's my thing about this. If y'all don't know or can't tell, I'm very, very, very excited about Masters of the Universe coming up. I'm very, very excited because I am one of the biggest He-Man fans of all time. Biggest He-Man fan on the face of the planet. I grew up, that was my cartoon growing up. The 80s cartoon He-Man. It's so when they made the first He-Man, the only He-Man movie, Masters of the Universe, I think it's Frank Langua, whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. No, he played Skeletor, and Dolph Lundgren played He-Man. The movie, you know, we all say it was cheesy graphics, but there was no CGI effects big like this, like it is now. It was more of like movie magic, and animatronics and stuff like that helped make movies. You know, it was like the opening to get to where we are today with the CGI. But now there's more money. They pay for big programs, CGI programs, and put everything's CGI now because it's so easy. It's more expensive now put these movies together, but everything's going to CGI. There's no movie magic anymore. So that being said, put BattleCat in it. But there's no excuse why BattleCat can't be in this movie. There's no excuse. So you watch Jurassic World, even when the first Jurassic Park, it was like amazing to the eye. Upcoming with the dinosaurs, and you're like, oh man, real dinosaurs. When you first seen that, the John Hammond thing and all that, we all went crazy, and it was like it went from like fairyland to like them running for their lives at the end of the movie. You seen the graphics and for the dinosaurs. We seen Transformers. It was amazing. Like, whoa, the first Transformers movies, it catched my eye. And me personally, I was like, what, I never seen nothing like that before. And it was like Jurassic Park, the beginning to the eye, the first one. This movie now comes to the eye as, Michael Bay and Steven Spielberg, they put that CGI of Transformers of a giant robot turning into trucks and all that. That's another cartoon I came up on. So we looking at like, oh, man, that look real. Wow, I like this. The movie was just the first Transformer movie I love. Like, it was amazing. I didn't think when I first heard about it when it came out, I didn't think Michael Bay loved it, but it was just. Not Michael Bay. I didn't think Michael Bay could do it, and I didn't think the project would be that good because Michael Bay, Bad Boys, uh, The Rock, Con Air, like big time. Him and Jerry Bruckheimer, whatever, doing like these big explosive movies. And Michael Bay, we know he's very explosive. I'm thinking like Transformers, he couldn't, but he did it. He made it work, and he brought it to life, and it was new to the eye. Then you had Iron Man, CGI, amazing, new to the eye. You have all this stuff out there. You got Avatar, CGI, amazing. Sort of new to the eye, kind of with that style. That was James Cameron. You know, then we had, we got the X-Men era and, with the Avengers and all that. And then you had the Hulk. Here comes the Hulk. And it's like, okay, yeah, Hulk isn't as amazing to the eye as a T-Rex looking real, because this is just, this Green Man looks like a Play-Doh guy. But, it's still, you know, it's doable. So what I'm saying is, it's easy for them to make amazing things like that now and bring it to the eye to capture the audience. So there's no reason why you can't bring BattleCat to life. You did all these movies, all this stuff going on. I don't want to hear cost. It's going to cost too much in the film or whatever. Do not do what the first film did. They left BattleCat out. They could have did movie magic with that. They didn't put BattleCat in there. They didn't put the Oracle in that. They had some wizard, whatever, that was kind of taking his place. And I guess they wanted to go more realistic type stuff. But you can't have He-Man without BattleCat. You just can't. Not He-Man is like the most powerful man in the universe. Like a gladiator with his horse, Cringer. BattleCat is just like his horse. He's not Hercules where he just walk around and he's not, he's not Superman. He's the Superman for Eternia. He's Eternia's Superman. He's the most powerful, strongest man in the whole universe. So He-Man is stronger than Hulk. And Hulk is like the most strongest. No, He-Man's stronger than that. He has a power sword, which he can do a lot of things with. And He-Man is like, he could do a lot of things to blowing wind, like wind, tornadoes and stuff, and picking up big huge rocks and throwing them on it, and just he can punch through. Like he's Superman without flying. He can leap real high, jump real high. He's like the Hulk, but he can do almost everything Superman can do, minus the flying and shooting out lasers. Everything else, Superman blows ice or wind and all that. He man does that too. So I guess what makes up for his flying is the sword. You know. So like I said, He Man is Eternia's Superman. So also what makes up for the flying is BattleCat. So you got to bring BattleCat. To me, BattleCat is a important, very important part of that franchise, of that story, of his whole organ. Cringer, his pet. He's his pet tiger, on the planet Eternia. Just like we have our cats and dogs as pets, the ferrets and parrots, and you know, then you have a pet. That's his pet, a green tiger, and it's in this fantasy world, this universe, this not universe, fantasy like planet where it's like similar to Earth but different things. Almost like Krypton with Superman, similar to Earth but just you know it's a lot different, more magical, more prettier. So that's why I said He-Man, Eternia, Superman, Krypton. So the movie apparently is sort of Supermanish because he gets he's sent to Earth as a young baby in a spaceship. Supermanish. Superman sent to Earth in a spaceship. But He-Man, somewhere along the lines, I guess they're going to show it at the beginning of the movie. The Power Sword gets lost and gets to Earth. Somehow it got to Earth, and they send Adam as a baby to Earth to live on Earth and eventually find a Power Sword. When once he gets adult or whatever, and I'm assuming I don't know this, but I'm assuming the spaceship is going to be sort of same thing, very Superman similar. You know, his father, they're going to communicate with him through the spaceship. His mother, his father, because they're the king and queen of Eternia, and they're going to have their technology. So on that spaceship, I'm assuming they're going to communicate with him, unless they send the Oracle with him. I think I heard something like that in the story. One of the scripts I was reading about. Um, it would make sense to me to send Oracle and Cringer. There's ways to have BattleCat in it, or keep Cringer at Eternia, but he's got to be He-Man's pet. What I'm trying to say is, I don't want them. I get a great, crazy idea of what they might do, and I'm so impatient, because I'm big on He-Man. I'm so impatient with this BattleCat thing. I'm scared they're going to say, well, what we're going to do, we're going to set it up for like a franchise, like a part 1, part 2, part 3, like Transformers. And we're going to introduce Adam, his whole story, his whole organ. He's going to go to Earth, like Superman, and somebody going to find him. Two people going to find him and raise him, his parents, Earth parents. And then, at some point, he's going to find a power sword, and then he's going to go when he gets older, and then Skeletor is going to try to take over Castle Grayskull like he always do, and he's going to get introduced to Skeletor when he comes back to Eternia, because they're going to call for him. Hey, you found that sword. The sorceress, I'm assuming, is going to communicate with him also, and I don't know if she's going to communicate him through the ship or through just because she can communicate through him through her. She's a sorcerer. She can talk to him, through her mind, like telepathy, whatever, all that. And then he gets back to Eternia, fights Skeletor for the first time, meets Skeletor, fights Skeletor and his henchmen, and then defeats him. And then at the end, he saves Eternia. He's recognized as Prince Adam, you know, and Eternia discovers He-Man, who in a cartoon set up by the sorceress, and she, in a cartoon she uh helps guy Adam to find a power sword to become He-Man, but that's in Eternia. That's switching it up. This is, I guess, he finds the sword in planet Earth and then comes back to Eternia. Then she helps him. You know, it, I'm assuming that's going to happen. Then they're going to announce a part two. Masters of the Universe Part 2, whatever you're gonna call it. And then he discovers BattleCats comes in. Maybe like at the end of the movie, maybe he finds Cringer, like, oh, who are you? A little tiger, a baby tiger or something at the very end of the movie, maybe at the end credits or something. Or they just, he's like, oh, he's my pet, takes care of him. And then that sets up, they're letting everybody know it's going to be a part two. He just found Cringe. He just found pretty much BattleCat, and then that part two, Skeletor comes back, or Zodiac. I think his name's Zodiac or whatever. He's another villain of Superman. I mean, sorry, another villain of He-Man, big time villain. He's like a Skeletor, but he's She-Ra's villain too. And that's another thing. They set it up for She-Ra to be, maybe the storyline could be He-Man and She-Ra, and the introduction of She-Ra. He discovers She-Ra, his sister. There's a lot of ways they can do this for like set up for a part two and a part three. I'm just saying they might be looking at it like we ain't gonna rush BattleCat in it. No, I don't want that. All of us being fans, we don't. Well, I can't speak for everybody else. Being a huge fan of the cartoon and watching what happened the first movie, I would assume everybody is on the same page with me. Is we want BattleCat in this one. Forget all that. Bring him in this one. And I think in a way, Travis Knight is the director, so I think in a way he's kind of like because I heard he made he had an interview about the movie, and it was asking him. He said he's going to keep it 100% to the franchise of the cartoon on filmware, whatever it's called, whatever the company that did Masters Universe in the 80s. He's going to keep a good 90% to the original for the cartoon for the fans. Now try to change stuff left and right like movie productions normally do for like comic book movies and cartoon movies. They always want to do it their way. A lot of directors want it to be realistic, so they'll change stuff, take stuff away that it was, and make it different. And everybody's like, what? Head scratching their head. What? Come on now, that wasn't okay. All right, whatever. I guess I'll deal with it. No. So I'm assuming in his head he's thinking, I can't leave BattleCat out this movie because they would, or at least out the franchise of me doing this project. Because I'm assuming he's got it in mind. I don't know this, but I'm trying to think as Travis Knight. He's got it in mind like, this does good. It's definitely going to be a part two. Or I'm going to do this. Everybody's going to go see it. And I'm going to introduce him into the new generation, all the old fans. So I probably can't lose no matter what. So I'm going to set it up for a part two. I'm going to expect this to do good in the box office, which I think it will, because everybody I feel like is going to go see this. And we'll go. We might as well go ahead and prepare for part two, and possibly a part three. So I think he's got BattleCat on his mind with this. I don't think he's stupid. I don't think he's going to be like, I'm gonna just do it like the last film. We ain't putting BattleCat in there. No, because you're gonna get you're gonna get rated with all the bad comments from the fans. So if you do that, one advice you do that. I don't think it's a good idea to do that. Put BattleCat in this franchise, no matter I'll deal with if you don't put him in the first He-Man movie. If you're gonna set it up for part one and part two, if you bring him in part two, but and I get it, if you introducing this whole organ story, you want to do it from the beginning, which makes sense because he's going to the planet Earth. But there's a way you can do this, Travis Knight, where you can have Cringer on a ship with him. You can do that. And Cringer, here's the thing about this, though, and I thought about this. In a cartoon, Cringer and BattleCat, before he turns to BattleCat, and that's Cringer, he talks. They talk, they communicate. So he's a talking cat, tiger. He talks to Adam as his pet. He's very scary. We all know, if you watched the cartoon in the 80s and came up on a cartoon franchise, we know Cringer's always scared. He's like Scooby-Doo. Like, Scooby-Doo, oh, Starkey, I don't know if I want to do that. He's real scared and real scary or whatever. It's like, come on, Scoob. Well, Adam and Cringer. Adam's like, Cringer, I think we should probably go into the castle. I feel like Skeletor might be there. And then he's like, oh, I don't know, Adam. I'm just a little scared. But why can't we just leave? He's got that you know what I mean? Like he's very scary. But to the chance in the back there when he's BattleCat, he's like, oh, hey man, let's get him. Like he ain't scared no more. He's ready to fight and destroy. You can have him be on a ship with him to guide him. Okay, Cringer, the king and queen, our son Adam, we're gonna send Cringer on there because he talks. He's a talking cat. We need you to guide him, and guide him to help him find the sword while you guys are playing there, you know. So you could do it like that, and he's a communicating cat. He communicates to Adam, and he guides him. They find the sword together, and like I said, you can send the orc with him too. And there's ways that he's we don't want they don't want Cringer out just in the public or people see it, they get scared, they get scared of him. You can't do the storyline like that. Okay, well, keep him on a ship. Keep him on a ship. Let him, Adam goes back and forth to the ship like Clark did with his ship, and he talked to his father. They would talk to him on the ship, and which also, speaking of that, the new Superman movie, they're gonna switch it up from the Man of Steel, and they're gonna have the robot on there or whatever, the old comic books or whatever. The robot's gonna be on there helping him, guiding him, and I think I'm not sure if he's gonna communicate with his father through on the ship too, but I know the robots are gonna help him and do that. So who knows how I'm getting Superman vibes from this. I'm thinking Travis Knight is thinking like of course we all know whoever direct He-Man movies, they can't seem to keep being on Earth out of this. It's like everybody get this project, they want to somehow it's going to be on Earth at some point. The first one, he was in Eternia, and he went to Earth through the little magic key, whatever, and the wizard or whatever. That's how they got there. And then Skeletor, he was looking for the key or whatever, and the wizard, did his thing and got them on there. And then He-Man and Man at Arms and Teela was all looking for the key or whatever before Skeletor get it. And then Skeletor and Evelyn end up going to Earth too. and they end up having a battle on Earth, then go back to Eternia to finish the battle. Well, this one, he's already on Earth. Adam is on Earth because he's sent to Earth as a baby, and he's an adult, at some point, and he finds a sword, and then he goes back to Eternia and fights Skeletor, and then they finish the movie off on Eternia. But either way you look at it, they just cannot leave Earth out of this, which I don't understand. Like I'm like, yo, y'all didn't learn from the first one. The Earth thing, it's like the T Rex walking through the Lost World. Got the T Rex walking through the Earth thing with fantasy. To me, doesn't really work unless it's Superman, because Superman's sent there and he stays on Earth. He becomes a American citizen as an alien that helps fights for justice and all that. He's a superhero. That's the only way you or something any kind of superhero. But when you talk about He-Man, which is he's not sent to Earth like Superman to stay on Earth. Like Eternia. I mean, Krypton blew up, so he had no choice but to go to Earth. And you know, Eternia doesn't blow up. It's there for eternity, forever. So that in the cartoon they didn't. The only thing about Earth was He-Man's mother, the Queen of Eternia. She was actually born on Earth, and then she was an astronaut, and she ended up in space, and then finding Eternia. Her plane, her ship crashed or whatever, and then she got on Eternia, met the king. They fell in love with each other, and she never went back to Earth. So it could be tied in too with that, like maybe somewhere along the lines, it got to explain how the Power Sword got on Earth. You know what I mean? Like, and they're going to have to explain that the mother came from Earth, because they explain in the cartoon, and all the cartoons they try to do from the 80s to now, they explained that. So they're going to have to kind of explain that for the newcomers. But yeah, it's going to be interesting how they do this. But I'm just saying, man, like, bring BattleCat in this. Just give the fans what we want. We want BattleCat. Will I wait for him to be in part 2? I have no choice. It's whatever, as long as you bring Amanda, I guess, at some point. But do I prefer that? No. Do I prefer him to be in the first one? Yes. I'm sure everybody else do. But these writers and stuff, and they do their research on this cartoon, and they try to think realistically. Like, they're not gonna think like the last film. How can we do this a little different? Oh, we're not going to start the movie with He-Man being He-Man, and people still want to know how he became He-Man and all that stuff. So he's Travis Knight's, you know, and the writers thinking like, hey, let's just make it start from the beginning, how he become He-Man. You know, maybe the idea came from the writer, like, hey, we could set this up for part 2. You know what I mean? Like, because he's starting from a baby all the way to adult, so that's more space for other things than just jumping into, oh, he's already He-Man and Adam. You got to come up with a story about it. You know what I mean? Like some people might just, a lot of people might be like that don't know about He-Man. Hey, I wonder how he become He-Man, or how he became, or the new generation kids. Who is He-Man? How did he become He-Man? They don't know nothing about He-Man. So this is where it makes sense for them to do that, but for the old school fans like me, who's stubborn and all that, we want Cringer, we want BattleCat. We want to see the whole shebang. So I'm cool with him. You throwing BattleCat and introducing and all that in the first one. You can still do a part 2. because if you bring BattleCat in part two, it ain't gonna do a warm up and a tease for people to go see part two. Like, oh, BattleCat's gonna be in part two. They could be setting up for that too. Watch out for that. Or or you can just bring BattleCat in this one, and just She-Ra. That's a big story. She was in part two. Skeletor comes back. You know, uh, like I said, Zodiac, whatever. You can bring him in. As far as the villains in this, one of the villains that my favorite villain from the whole cartoon is Beastman. I'm not seeing Beastman unless they're gonna just do CGI and not really have nobody to play him. He's just probably he could be just CGI for this, but he's not in the cast. Everybody's playing a character from as far as his henchmen, you know, and that's in the movie. I think it's Triclops. Uh, well, what's his name? The fish guy. Lizard fish guy, whatever. Trap Jaw. Evil Land. I don't see. I didn't never seen Beastman, so maybe he could be in part two, or maybe he's CGI. But either way. But yeah, so yeah, bring BattleCat, please, Travis Knight. If you can hear me, if you want this movie to be successful and you want everybody to go see it, which means 80% of the fans from the franchise, put BattleCat in it and show him in the trailer. I promise you, promise you, promise you gonna this movie gonna blow up bigger than you expected, and you're gonna have a lot of success because all the old heads like me, that's all you need. Just us to see BattleCat once. We don't care about who we're playing He-Man. We see BattleCat in there, like, okay, yeah, we got to go. Yeah, I'm going to see that, you know. So, bring BattleCat in the movie. All right, Voltron. Like I said, Voltron's wrapping up in Australia. So that's a good thing. I'm super excited about that too, because I'm a big fan of that. Henry Cavill. A lot of people feels like he's going to be playing one of the pilots um, from Voltron, I think the lead guy. But from what I read, these are not the pilots from the cartoon. These are different characters. So this is going to be completely different. So if you guys are expecting the exact names from the cartoon in the 70s, don't give your hopes up, because these are different people, going to be different people. They're all going to be what is it, 5 pilots altogether, like the cartoon. Everything else is going to be original, but the characters, the names, is going to be different. So this is supposed to be pretty big. I heard they spent I forgot what the budget was. I think it was 200. So they spent 250 million on the film, and I can't remember what the budget. I don't want to say nothing wrong, but budget is supposed to be big. But I think I hadn't heard anything about this hitting theaters yet. This was supposed to be, from what I understand, when he came out with this project, supposed to be streamed to This is Amazon MGM also, but streamed to Amazon. So, but Master Universe was supposed to be that too, but that's what they said. Then they turned around and switched it up later, and then I understand it's going to theaters first and then going to Amazon. So hopefully this will go to theaters too. Old heads like me, we want to go. We're original. We want to go. Go see this in the theater. These kind of movies in the theater, and then other people, they probably don't care going to that TV or whatever. This new thing with the streaming thing going on. You got a lot of streaming fans that just like to stay home and watch. So, um, This is this is coming very soon, so we'll see how this go down. I just want to tell my little thoughts on that. But other than that, you know, we'll go ahead and wrap that up. The next time I do a stream is going to be on the movie Sinners because I hadn't seen that yet. This is this movie is big. I'm hearing a lot of great things about this movie. Like a lot, like to the point I'm like, whoa, I support Michael B. Jordan, but I didn't think a movie like this was going to hit like this. Like I'm like, okay, I, I didn't even know it was about vampires till later. I found that out, so I'm just, every all my friends, have you seen Sinners? You ain't seen Sinners yet? It's it's big. It's getting up there. So I was assuming, go see Sinners. I hadn't seen it yet. Like I said, the next time you see me on here, it's gonna be talk about that movie. So, but Masters of the Universe, bring BattleCat in. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I'll see you soon, hopefully. And yeah, you guys give me your thoughts on the whole BattleCat and the movie thing, and subscribe. And I will see y'all later.